Hey guys, welcome to the pod.
The Pea Pod. I'm Ladle.
And I'm Peas.
And we have a full ladle of peas just for you.
So let's get to it.
All right, welcome to Season 2 of the Pea Pod, the podcast, the ladle of peas. This semester, we're starting a new season because we are doing a little restructuring of things, a little feedback was given to us. We want to take that, run with it, give you what you ask for, and a little bit of what we want as well. So we decided that end season 1 was last semester, starting season 2 is now. We didn't say it because we were very sick during the end of season 1, and we weren't really focused on that. So
and
we were focused on being alive during the finals week
with
sinus infections and colds and
laryngitis.
I'm sure you could tell if you listened to that episode that we were not with it all
sick
the way.
Sick as a dog. It also just felt right to start something new in a new year, you know?
Mm-hmm. New year, new us.
Yeah.
New year, new pod.
New pod. We shed the old one.
Oh, and I also, for Christmas, got brand new bigger peas. So
show the time.
This is the originals. Exhibit A, if you're listening and
paper.
And here's the paper ones for reference, and then here's the big boys.
And we're planning
large.
to get even bigger ones at some point too.
So yeah, we found out that they make them like the size of pillows. So stay tuned for that when we have money. So
yeah.
Anyway, we're gonna hop right into things. And I will turn it over to Peas here to read us some scripture.
Okay. Well, if you guys want to pull your Bibles out, we're going to be in John 15 here. John chapter 15, and I think we're going to go to verse 11, 1 through 11. All right. John 15 says, this is all Jesus talking. I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away, and every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, that it may bear more fruit. Already you are clean because of the word that I have spoken to you. Abide in me, and I in you, as the branch cannot bear fruit by itself, unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me, and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit, for apart from me you can do nothing. If anyone does not abide in me, he is thrown away like a branch and withers, and the branches are gathered, thrown into the fire, and burned. If you abide in me, and my words abide in you, ask whatever you wish, and it will be done for you. By this my Father is glorified, that you bear much fruit, and so prove to be my disciples. As the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. Abide in my love. Abide in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. These things I have spoken to you, that my joy may be in you, and that your joy may be full. Period.
That's good. What are your comments?
Well, I think the thing that it really that I see is first is when he says I am the vine, you are the branches. It's like the most direct.
I know. I put that in my notes.
It's literally like Jesus explains it.
Mm-hmm.
Like
I said, verse 5. He literally spells out the metaphor.
Yes, like in all the parables and everything. Yeah. He's like,
it's usually the parable, and then there's a section of like
right.
What
well,
the
he explains it to the disciples, and then at some point he changes. He realizes that other people aren't going to get it, so he's only going to speak in parables. Mm-hmm. This is like he's telling them, and he's like he doesn't wait for them to ask. He's like, okay, so there's these branches in this vine. I am the vine. You are the branches. Yeah. Like that's it.
I also always imagine like a vine not having branches, because I had to look up a picture of a vine with branches because I was like, what even?
Yeah, because you usually see vines like vines crawling up
like
things. Yeah, thin
around,
little.
Yeah. You know, I grew up in the woods and I saw vines all the time and no branches. I was like, what is it talking about, dog? Mm-hmm. So I had to look it up because all I could think of was like a tree with branches, and I was like, I was imagining tree branches on a vine.
Yeah, no, I actually haven't looked up myself, I think I probably should, because I just picture what a branch on a vine might look like, but yeah, that's the thing that always gets me is like he's just so, and then he gets direct again at the end, and he's like, I just, this is a very, when I think of this passage, I think of like just like so much compassion, like so much intense love that that's why I was just read it over and over again, because it's like you couldn't even get, like, as the Father has loved me, so have I loved you. I can't, like, I don't think people, that's crazy.
Here's the thing. At verse 9, I put with verse 12. I know we didn't read verse 12, but this is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you.
Yeah.
And so he's, it's as the Father has loved me, so I love you. As I have loved you, love one another.
Others. Right. It's a thing.
So it's like a chain.
Right.
And I thought that was so cool. And so I put a little asterisk by it.
And then love is everywhere in this chapter. Just love, love, love. It's almost redundant. There's like so many different words. Fruit, abide, love. Like those are words, branches, the vine, all of that just like it just repeats itself over and over again, and you just feel like you're saying the same thing. So this, an interesting story I think I've told you before. When I came here the first week back to school, I went to that church that's close to campus, and I can't think of the name.
Is it Park Community?
No.
That one?
It's past the...
Harvest Bible?
Yes.
That one.
So I went there, and I went there with my cousin and her friend, and I was trying to get with her friend. And maybe I shouldn't have said that. But... Oh, dear.
That's awkward.
Anyway, the point is, I was like, I got all dressed up, and I was so hot because it was still warm. It was still like
it was
summer season. So I've got my undershirt, I've got my button-up red, I've got my red long sleeve sweater, and my tie, and my slacks. Like I went with sunglasses, and I did my hair, and I thought it was so cool. Anyway, the point is, we went there. And I was a little iffy. It was the first week back, and I was like so focused on this girl because I just met her the night before, and I was like head over heels. And I thought, all right, I kind of said a little prayer to myself beforehand. I was like, God, listen, I know I'm a little enthralled right now. Help me focus on you, like not on this. Like I want to focus on church, like not on this girl, even though I feel like I wasn't going to be able to. Well, we got to this church, and they have this amazing testimony of this woman who does baptism, gets baptized. But when they got to the message, it was a satellite. It was the pastor of the church got there. She's like, we never do this, but this is special for our church's Harvest in terms of our, collective churches. And the lead pastor is going to do a very special couple-week message on John 15 to talk about what it means to be a disciple and disciple-making church.
Okay.
Well, I sat there, and this was an incredible message. I mean, I forgot about her so fast, and it was this. And it touched me
let me
so
take care
hard.
of that for you.
Literally. Seriously. I mean, and the thing that stuck out to me first when I was there was everybody gets pruned. Because it says that, I'm the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away, and every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, so that it may bear fruit. And if you don't, you know what pruning is, but like when you prune something, it's not cutting it, it's cutting it like halfway so that more growth can happen. Because that's just how plants work. That's what I do in the summertime.
I'm going to come back to that verse in a minute.
Okay, good. Well, the problem is that the people who have, who are not, it says the people who do not bear fruit, he takes away.
Right.
Which means he gets cut, but the people who gets pruned also get cut. Everybody gets cut at some point. Like it's you think, oh, I'm in Christ, I'm never going to get hurt, I'm never going to have heartbreak. That doesn't happen. I did that. That was the whole point of the breakup, was pruning. My breakup this summer was pruning, and I grew and had more fruit from that.
Yeah.
Like, and it's just amazing. It's, when you're going through hard times like that, when you feel like you're being cut and burned.
Well, yeah, if you are a plant person out there, you know that sometimes like your plant gets an infection. Like, if you've had a Monstera plant, I think that's what they're called. They're like big leaf plants. Sometimes it'll get an infection on the leaf, and then you're not supposed to like cut around the leaf. It's some other form of pruning in that way. I don't know a lot about plants. I just know what it looks like in my head.
Yeah.
So, and I think of that, and I think that's a live plant, and that like is going to hurt the plant temporarily to help it in the long term.
Exactly.
You know, so it feels uncomfortable or it feels painful, and you're like, okay, God, why? And then eventually you're like, okay, this is the fruit that came from it. Because when you're pruning, sometimes you have to, like, even if you're bearing fruit, sometimes you have to do pruning so it will bear even more fruit.
Right.
And I didn't know that before. I started doing all this research on plants yesterday. It was really weird.
That's awesome.
I was just like, what is a vine dresser? What is plants? I don't even know. What's a branch?
That's good.
I don't know anything about this stuff. So I was looking into that, and I guess I was like, oh, pruning is like when you're not bearing fruit and you have to, help something out to, push it along. And then I was like, oh, I can bear fruit and it can be good. And God can say, okay, if I take this one little thing, clip it off, she's gonna bear 10 times the amount of fruit that she's bearing now, and she won't even know until it happens. And I think when I was home over winter break, I had this moment when I was out at the summer camp that I work at, that we were doing a reflection on the past 12 months. And my boss, Danny, went month by month and started in January and ended in December, obviously, because it was still in December. No, it was just into the new year when I went out there. And so she was going over like world events that had happened in each month, and then encouraged us to write down what happened in our lives. And I got to see in a very literal form, like, okay, these are the events that happened in my life, and this is where the pruning happened. This is like the exact time. Sometimes I could remember to the day, like, wow, that was a really painful day, and it lasted a month, and then I was on fire, and being able to have that reflection piece along with the pruning and the pain it makes it worth it, And going back to verse 1, I am the true vine, and my Father is the vine dresser. I was like, what the heck is a vine dresser? I was like, I'm assuming it's somebody who takes care of vines. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is Google's definition of a vine dresser. A person who prunes, trains, and cultivates vines. And so therefore, if Jesus is the vine, then in order to cultivate that, it is to acquire and develop it. And so during this specific time when this is being written, Jesus is being developed by God the Father. And that is like, so,
I know,
it's so cool.
It is.
And he like talks about God the Father as like a separate person, but still a part of himself.
Part of the
which
Trinity.
I think is so important. I mean, one for a Trinitarian view, but also for what is true and good. And sometimes I forget that there's passages like this where he very plainly lays out, like, this is who I am, this is who God the Father is, but we are the same. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, whoa, okay. That's crazy. So those are some of the things that I had thought about when looking at this.
Well, there's something that the Moody Commentary had, and that is that first let me say the word abide, because that's repeated a lot in this book, and it's also repeated in the other John books, the first, third, second, and third John books, is abide over and over again. Abide is really, do you know what it means? Mm-hmm. Okay. It means continue.
I mean, I have a general idea, but
it means continue. It means like always be in pursuit of, basically. So when he says abide, which I really like, it's a fun word.
Yeah.
It's like, I always think of him, like, for some reason in my head, I think abide, like he like grabs me and hugs me to his chest. And I feel like that's not I don't know, it's just like a continuous of that. Mm-hmm. Like you're always pursuing it. And if you're a Christian going through this hard world, that's what you always are chasing after, is to, abide in him. So that's what that means. Yeah. But the Moody Commentary says a few different things. The one thing that I read was that the followers of Jesus are not commanded to bear fruit. they're commanded to abide. And I think that's important because even when Paul's talking about the fruit of the Spirit in, where is that? Philippians? Fruit of the Spirit? It might be Colossians. I don't remember.
It's something like that.
Fruit of the Spirit somewhere.
It's in the Bible.
It's in the Bible. Fruit is not forced. Fruit is grown. And so when this says, when Jesus is saying, abide in me, and then you'll bear fruit, he's saying it's not, you can't bear the fruit by yourself. That's why it's called the fruit of the Spirit. It comes from your love of Christ and your pursuit of him. I think that's just an important thing to say because a lot of people do try to bear their own fruit, you know. Yeah. They're like, I got to focus on God. Give me patience. Give me kindness. And he's like, well, he's going to give you those things, but not directly like that. It's got to be out of your own outpouring of, you know, of Jesus. I know that's a lot of Christianese words, but
yeah.
Anyway, the other thing that I thought was interesting, here's a theory, and I want to know what you think about this.
Okay.
It says, verse 2, every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away, and every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes, and that it may bear more fruit. Already you are clean because of the word that I've spoken to you. Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit by itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me, and I cannot find where it is. If anyone does not abide in me, he is thrown away like a branch and withers, and the branches are gathered, thrown into the fire, and burned. That sounds like hell, right?
Yeah.
Sounds like unbelievers
100%.
being cut off in hell. That's not what the commentary said.
Mm-hmm.
The commentary said that, and I think I have to agree, because it says every branch in me. Now, that is distinctly different than when Paul says in Christ, because in me means you're in, it's like, there's two theories. There's one, if the dead branches represent other believers who aren't bearing fruit, it means that the burning and the being cut off is just, it's punishment, it's reproof, and it's trying to get you ready for Judgment Day. He's trying to get you, hey, you got to listen, you got to pay attention, if that's what it means. If it means that the dead branches are unbelievers, then it means it's hell and eternal punishment. The commentary says, based on the fact that it says that we are like branches, we are as a branch, rather than we are branches being pruned. Mm-hmm. Because when it's a metaphor that says we are branches being pruned, that would be more probably, you know, that's representative of hell being, you know, eternal damnation. But since it says that we are like a branch, we are as a branch, it's a simile, so it's probably not that. It's probably reproof, you know, correction from God.
Right.
Which is something that did not come what I thought would. I always thought of hell, you know, dead branches, you get cut off, you get thrown in hell. And the pastor at that church never really talked about that, but I just thought that was interesting. And yeah, that's, I don't know, that's pretty much.
It made me think of hell. I mean, what you said makes sense. It just made me think of hell because.
Absolutely.
I mean, cut off, put in a fire, like a fire.
Yeah.
Hell.
Light. And it's not, I mean, it's true. I mean, you don't, it's the same concept. I just think that what he is saying is, and I don't want to like all of a sudden make it not like convicting, like, right. Oh, it's not about hell, it's only about punishment. I'm not trying to dumb down what Scripture's saying, but I think based on how he says it, it's more of a, and it's still bad to go through, you know, punishment, reproof. I don't know. I shouldn't get into all that because it's going to be theologically confusing if you say punishment, you know, because God's not going to punish you for a sin twice. He already gave it to Jesus on the cross. It's more, I don't know. I don't want to get into all that right now because it's a pretty deep topic. So let's just leave it at be a good branch. Yes.
Yeah.
I think I had other stuff like in the rest of, you know, mid 15.
The last thing that
go ahead.
I wanted to say about stuff was where did I just see it? Verse 3. Already you are clean because of the word that I have spoken to you. Now, if you flip a few pages before to chapter 13 and look at verse 10, Jesus said to him, the one who has bathed does not need to wash except for his feet, but is completely clean. And you are clean, but not every one of you. And I think about that, and he says, in verse 3, you are clean because of the word that I've spoken to you. And I think about that as he's talking to the disciples, and he's like, you're clean, but not all of you. Because
there's someone among you.
And so I think about that, and I think about the branches, and we're clean because of the word he has spoken. But maybe not all of us.
Right.
And that's so hard for me to grasp sometimes, is that there's people around me that I won't see in an eternity. You know, there's people that go to this school that I won't see in eternity.
Yep.
And knowing that I am clean because of the word he has spoken is enough for me. Confidence. And I hope that other people hear this and they say, that's enough for me too. The word he has spoken, this word right here, I'm clean.
That was what I thought of, because I have all those struggles about how can I love God and still participate in sin, like knowingly. Yeah. And that's a whole other battle to fight by myself. But when I read that, I underlined it, and that's what I thought of, was already you are clean because of the word that I have spoken to you. And that's pretty final. I mean, yeah, I don't think that he's going to just let you go. So,
wrapping up a little bit, I am talking to our audience at this point. I want to challenge you guys just to meditate over this passage this week and let us know what you get from it. We want to hear from you as well, in comments or on Instagram, whatever it might be, in person, whatever it may be. And I want to ask you to pray as a response in what you have learned. Pray those things back to God. He's listening. So that is all I have to say.
Okay. Awesome.
Moving on. Speaking of winter break earlier, I want to know what one song you would use to describe your winter break.
See, I don't know how to describe winter break. It kind of evened out. I mean, I had like a good parts.
Yeah.
And then, you know, my brother was really sick, and
right.
It was just affects his moods and makes it harder for him to, you know, I don't know. It just, I felt bad for him because he was having a hard time most of the time. And so it was like really good. But then there's some bad parts. And so now I just kind of came off pretty equal. Like I definitely felt improved and rested and everything. I had a great break, but, I don't know. I can't think of anything that would describe it necessarily.
You can't summarize it in one song.
Yeah.
That's like when people ask you to like put all your feelings in one word and you're like,
no. There's my word. Because I couldn't think of a single like emotion or like a thought that like traveled. I could think of something that could travel over, but it wasn't. Yeah. It's not big enough to really encapsulate the whole break. I don't know. So I assume you have one that describes your break,
I do,
and
have
I'd love
one.
to hear it.
Okay, so the name of the song, you're gonna be like, "Oh wow, that's depressing, Justine," and I'm gonna say, just wait. It's called "I Don't Like Myself" by Imagine Dragons, and Imagine Dragons is my favorite band for many reasons. I love them. They have good music. But let me read the lyrics to you and explain where I was at over winter break. It says, "Then I'm stuck in this space, shutting down and hiding my face, tuned out and losing my faith. Stand up, tired of being a victim. You only on the outs, if you with them." And I think that described kind of how I felt going into break. Of I was tuned out. I didn't want to see people. I just wanted to shut myself away because that's how I had dealt with a lot of my breaks in the past. And when I'm home, I just shut down. And so that's kind of how I felt going into break. And then later on in the chorus, it says, "There are times when I don't like myself, and I believe all the things they say about me. I want to love myself just like everyone else, but there are times when I don't like myself." And I think that is a great summary of how I think is there's a lot of times where I'm fine with being me, and I'm like, man, I'm great. in like a not prideful way. Like I'm great. And then there are times when I don't like myself. And I see how everybody else loves me, and I want to be able to love myself like that, but I just can't. And so I think over break, I was having a lot of reflection time and a lot of conviction from God. And it just stuck with me in this way of like, wow, these are things that I struggle with, of not liking myself and wanting to be able to love myself in the way that others love me. And then I said, Justine, God loves you in that way. And God wants you to see how he loves you, not how everybody else around you loves you. And so I think that was really convicting for me. And the rest of the song basically repeats that point of him feeling like he doesn't like himself and et cetera, et cetera. But I think that it's a great depiction of my break because it's something that I learned to move past. It's something I struggled with towards the beginning, and by the end I was moving on. And so I can take that song and leave it in break and step into the new semester saying, okay, yeah, there's times where I don't like myself, but that doesn't change God's love for me. That doesn't change how I love other people, or how other people love me. And just because I don't feel like I have the same kind of love for myself doesn't change the fact that there's good things about me and that there's reasons to love me, even though I don't want to see it and I put blinders on. So that was my song for the break.
Wow. I still can't think of anything. I've thought of so many things. A Christmas song probably would go nicely because it was Christmas.
Well, yeah.
Or, I don't know. I don't know. That, Let's Build a Fire by Cody Johnson.
What's the premise of the song?
It's fall, and we should build a fire.
You didn't have a lot of bonfires over break.
Yeah.
You had a few.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
There you go.
But I do have a favorite song.
Tell me about it.
It is Christ Our Hope in Life and Death by Shane and Shane.
Is that your song of the week?
Yes. It was the last week of break. It was the last week of break. And I was packing and doing some things. And my sisters apparently had never heard of Shane and Shane.
What?
Or they kept thinking I was saying Dan and Shay. They're like, oh, they're Christian? I'm like, yeah. And I was like, no, not Dan and Shay. Shane and Shane.
Shane and Shane. How do they...
I think they know. I think they're just playing a little ignorant.
Okay.
But I played all of my favorite songs by them, and they liked it. But then I asked...
Shane and Shane's awesome.
Shane and Shane is awesome. I asked Alexa to play Shane and Shane songs, shuffle Shane and Shane songs.
Yeah.
First one that comes on is this song, Christ Our Hope in Life and Death.
Uh-huh.
And for some reason, I'd never heard it. And it is awesome, and I'm not sure that
I don't think I've heard it.
Yes, you have. I played it for you. I sing it all the time.
Oh.
Really? You never heard it?
I don't know. Not that I remember.
Okay, well, the lyrics are, what is our hope in life and death? Christ alone, Christ alone. What is our only confidence? That our souls to him belong. Mm-hmm. Who holds our days within his hand? What comes apart from his command? And what will keep us to the end? The love of Christ in which we stand. Oh, sing hallelujah, our hope springs eternal. Oh, sing hallelujah, now and ever we confess Christ our hope in life and death. It's just the melody is so beautiful because, I wish I had my speaker. Hold on, let me play it on my phone. But the lyrics are great because it's Christ our hope in life and death. It's an amazing message. I'm not sure that Shane and Shane wrote it. I think this is them cutting it. But it just, I don't know, it hit me when I was in the kitchen listening to it. So I went down my room and I put it on loop and it really, I heard that on my computer. Hold on. And so, yeah, hold on. Let me get to this.
Yeah, I don't think I've heard that.
it's a beautiful song, and I just loved it, and I listened to it over and over again. And then I realized there are other songs that they've written other than Psalm 46.
Yeah.
So I have to go.
Psalm 34.
So I've been going through, and I'm listening to more of their music, and I've just been really loving it. So that's something that has just been, I've been thinking a lot about.
Sorry, finish.
No, that's
no,
it.
I interrupted you.
No, I literally don't gaslight me. No, I interrupted you. You were saying something.
Okay.
Go ahead.
When Shane and Shane came to school for Founders
Day.
Last
They
year.
switched it around.
Last year, Founders Day in the spring. My church sings a lot of Shane and Shane, and so I was like, yes, let's go. And everyone was like, who are these people?
Yeah, there was
and
a
I
lot
was
of
like,
people who didn't know. But now the thing is that like a couple of weeks before that happened, I was getting into it because I had never heard.
I was shocked.
And so as I'm getting into it, I'm listening to all these songs that people have already played, that people know. And I remember hearing, because you had played Lord of Hosts with your people, and that was when I think that really turned me on to Shane and Shane. And then I heard them sing, what was the one that I loved so much? It was like, it was the rendition of, what's the one before the Fountain song?
In Christ Alone?
Yes, thank you. I always forget the title of it. Their version of In Christ Alone, Steve had showed me, and I was like, because they... Yes, but they are unique amongst all people who I've ever heard play the song, because in the middle they quiet it down, and then they do then bursting forth in an explosive manner, and they go crazy, and I just think that's how it should be. The Passion version is good too. They just kind of go through it and they amp it up a little bit, but the way they drop out and then they go in bursting forth, and then Shane B does this incredible guitar strumming, like this 6-8 time, it's very unique, and I just think it's a really good way to play the song. Anyway,
he spent most of first semester trying to learn that guitar part.
So the point, because I want to sing it in chapel.
Note there.
The point is that I had just heard that and I was obsessed with it, and then I also knew Lord of Hosts, and when they came, they played all of the songs that I knew. They pretty much just played all of the songs I knew by them and the new one that they were putting out on their new album, which was amazing. I loved it. It was literally one of the... there was nothing that I did not like. Every single thing they played, I was excited about, and I loved it, and it sounded amazing.
Great music.
So, and they're just great worshipers. We talked about like worship leading last semester a lot here. In season one. And they fit the bill. I know we talked about it, but they do a phenomenal job. And even, where were we that I was just thinking he is good? Oh yeah, Reese. I think Reese has got that too.
Yeah.
Like during chapel 100%. When he's talking about stuff, I remember standing there and looking, I'm like, he is a worship leader. He knows what he's doing, and he is doing a great job. And I loved it.
Some people are like, I don't like when people talk so much, but when Reese is up there talking, it's like...
He's got it in his head. In it. It just flows. And I feel like I have moments like that, but not during a whole worship set. I know he probably thought about a lot what he was going to say, but he didn't have anything he was reading from. He just spoke it, and there was no hesitation.
For context, Reese is a student here at Moody. Maybe.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
I think if you're listening to this, he is? Graduated? Thank you. No. He's not?
Senior.
He's a senior?
He's a senior. I told you so.
Good golly. I'm
sorry,
Reese.
He's a student here at
If you ever
Moody.
watch this, I'm sorry. I haven't hung out with you a lot. Anyway, the point is, it was awesome. And Shane and Shane do a really good job of that too.
Yeah.
So
there's some people who are just so gifted in that. And
they are.
It's like, wow.
And that's where I want to be. That's what I want to do. If I have a worship lead like that, if that's really where, God's leading me to, that's how I want to do it.
Gotta get up there.
I know, I'm trying. That's what I want to do. I want to learn to lead rather than, that's because I think I like the term worship pastor. It's fine. I know the other Brennan likes it a lot better. But, or no, what is he like? Worship, remember, he talked about how there was a certain phrase that he liked better.
You had mentioned this before, and I didn't know what you were talking about.
There's a certain phrase that he likes a lot better, and I totally agree with his reasoning. My favorite is worship leader, because I feel like it rolls the tongue off better, but it's just that's what you're doing. You're leading worship. And, so they're awesome, and they do a good job. I prefer
worship director.
I think maybe that might be, or it's like something.
Something like that, because a worship leader to me is somebody who's just like up leading worship, like anybody who walks up and sings. Yeah.
I guess
her
that
leader.
makes sense. Yeah, you're
But
talking about someone who is in charge.
A general distinction
Right.
would be, I mean, if it's a guy, worship pastor. If it's a woman, worship director.
We just lost a lot of viewers.
That's okay.
Just kidding. Anyway, so yeah, Change Saint's great, and I love that song. And I'm trying to backtrack to where we were. Do you have a favorite song for the week?
Song of the week for me.
Something.
We've talked about Cody Fry before and Symphony
Ben
Sessions, and you just stole my thunder. I'm going in the direction of Ben Rector.
Sorry.
Yeah, thank you.
Go ahead.
And one of the songs from Symphony Sessions that Cody sings is Sailboat, and he does it with Ben Rector. And so the song that I have for this week is Brand New by Ben Rector, because it is a fantastic song, first of all. I think it's just
older, too.
Yeah, and it's just like a feel-good song. It just
It is.
is like, it's like a song that I would wake up in the morning and listen to and be like, yeah, I'm bumping. Today's a good day. And it's just one of those songs that's like, it almost feels like summer when I listen to it.
Yeah.
You know? It's got the kind of same feel as, what's the song? I don't remember, but the beginning there is Brand New. I know that, but it's very reminiscent of another song that also has the same feeling.
Got it.
And I just like it. I'm going to be singing it for vocal lessons this semester, and I'm really excited for it. And
Try to guess what year it came out.
2015. 16?
Yeah.
I was close.
Well done. February 17th of 2016.
It's a while ago.
Yep. But it did not come out in summer.
It did not come out in summer.
However, I don't know if he produced that as a single or if it just came out with the album. So.
It came out with the album, I believe. But I could be wrong.
It's a single from the album Brand New. It's the title track.
Yeah, that's it.
So
Okay. I'm a silly goose.
February 17th, 2016. Pop rock is the genre.
Pop rock. Yeah. I feel like that's not a description of how I feel about that song. But
I've always thought of him as... I've always hated the word indie pop, because I don't understand. I literally just think of some sort of cultural Indian music, but I don't understand where indie comes from. Do you know where it comes from?
Independent.
Oh, independent.
They're not under a label.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I don't think he's indie anymore. I think he's got a label. And he's
100%.
Yeah, so I don't know where to put him, because him and Cody Fry are both very alternative.
But not kind of alternative.
Not that kind of alternative. They're pop by nature, but it's not like what you hear on the radio. It's
right. Well, pop has been shaped by our generation into like T Swift, Olivia Rodrigo, which
nasty.
I'm not a Swiftie.
Nope. I'm not a Swiftie past 08. Yes.
So that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Mm-hmm.
But pop, I feel like they define pop.
Yeah, and they're allowed to. People just let
Ben
them.
and Cody.
Oh, okay.
I feel like
They define what pop should be, is
what pop should be.
Okay,
Yes,
I thought you were saying like the Swifties and the Rodrigos. They define pop however they want.
Rodrigos.
Well, because whatever they put out, people love. It doesn't matter if it's good or bad. It's just,
Right.
this came from Taylor Swift. I love it.
Yeah.
I have that tendency with certain people.
My sister's a big time Swiftie.
Oh.
Has a signed picture of Taylor Swift on her wall.
I'm
I love you,
sorry,
Jess.
Jess.
I don't love Taylor Swift.
I don't love Taylor Swift either. I like I said, I enjoyed her country when she started out as a country star.
I didn't.
Okay. I love her country. And everything past 08, when she kind of went in between the country and the pop and she started going over. Now, I will say I always have respected her individuality, because she doesn't, she writes everything she's played.
Correct.
And everybody these days with Luke Combs and Luke Bryan and Morgan Wallen, they buy all their songs from a bin of songwriters. And that's fine, because that's just how the industry works these days. But Taylor Swift doesn't do that.
Yeah.
She's written everything by herself, which is why it's so bad. Because
Oh my god.
The lyrics are.
Wow, that was harsh.
I'm sorry.
That was harsh.
It's just after '08, it just became so breakup focused, and I don't know. There's good breakup songs. She's just I don't know. I don't mean so bad. I just mean like it's just so outlandish sometimes. Anyway, Brand New, great song.
Brand New. Great song. Go listen to it. It goes along with in my opinion, our section on symphony sessions as well. I think it's in the same.
Well, he doesn't.
Well, it's not orchestral
right,
like that, but
right.
I'm saying it's good music. And
he does do.
If you enjoyed symphony sessions, I do think that you'll enjoy this.
The
'Cause it's Ben Rector.
The Cody and Ben went on tour, and they did that. I think Cody orchestrated part of that song.
Yeah.
While they were at Kennedy Center. And it's fun because he sings it a little differently than he does on the record, probably because he's sang it 1,000 times, and just artists tend to do that after they've sang the same song a billion times. They start changing it because they're sick of it. At least you know how they sing it. And but he's also got orchestration. Cody wrote orchestration for it and everything, so it sounds cool. But if you want that like symphony sessions feel to Brand New, go listen to the live version.
The live version, yeah.
At the Kennedy Center.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm talking about. So you have this thing with food.
Right.
And I want you to explain it to me because you don't go in the dish room you don't stop walking in the dish room if you can help it.
Go pick up that poor pea that you just
I will
chucked
pick it up
across the-
later. I want you to...
I will describe it as soon as you go pick up one of those peas. Because that was rude and hurtful to the pea. You just stop bullying the peas.
Is this a pick? Oh my gosh.
It's a guitar pick.
Pick in here.
The one that you lost. That's
It's
crazy.
the exact same color as the carpet.
Wow. That's
Wow.
wild.
See, the pea went
He
and
lost
found it
that
for me.
before break. That's crazy.
Wow, look at that. The Lord's providence.
See, I knew you needed to go pick up the pea
Wow.
right now.
That's crazy.
Anyway, the whole thing about food. Here's my deal. I don't even know how to fully describe it. It's just like I enjoy eating food, but anything after the consumption of food, any of the
Leftovers.
or the plates or the scent that goes along with it, I would rather do anything else in the world than deal with that. I hate doing dishes because of the feel on my hands and the scent that it has.
Soap.
Yeah, kind of. Well, no, not the soap. The scent of like if you walk into the dish hallway at Moody,
Yeah, by the
SCR,
carousel.
it smells horrible because it's just trash.
Because what
bins
it
full of
smells
scraps
like is a
and-
little bit of the trash and the warm water with the.
I can't even.
It's just like a musty. It is gross. I mean, it's not a pleasant smell at all. But
I can't stand it.
She cannot stand it to the
Right
point
before
where.
I walk into the hallway, I will take the deepest breath of air that I can get and then not breathe until I exit the door.
But to the so what you do for people who don't, go to Moody, is you're done with your plate in the SDR in the cafeteria, and you walk through this little hallway where you scrape your stuff into the
L-shaped
trash, and then you go and there's this carousel that brings the dishes around into the kitchen, and you put your dirty dishes on that carousel, and then the dish crew cleans them and whatever. She'll take a big breath and just walk through. And usually I'll take care of the dishes.
Fast as possible.
Or she'll do everything as fast as possible.
Because I just can't stand it.
To the point where a few times when I was following you out of there, I thought you were just trying to leave me and book it, but you were standing outside because you just couldn't stand it in that hallway.
Yeah, I can't stand in there. Like if somebody is trying to talk to me, I'm out. I can't do it. And it's to the point where if I take a breath of air in that room, like I feel like I'm going to die. My stomach gets queasy.
Oh my gosh. But it's not just that. It's other stuff like, if there's...
Well, yeah, like people chewing their mouth open bothers me. like when people
Talking about some stuff bothers you.
Yeah. There was one time last year that a friend of mine on my brosis was sitting with me at the STR table, and I had an ice cream cone, and I like the ice cream. I don't prefer the cone, but I only like to eat the ice cream out of the cone. It's very particular. I know. Why don't you just get a bowl? Why are you wasting the cone? Whatever. So I had the cone empty of ice cream sitting on the table. And he proceeds to fill it with tomato soup. I thought that I was going to cry on site.
Listen, I really don't blame you. That sounds pretty gross. He didn't eat it, did he?
No. They were like, we'll pay you $20 if you eat this. And I was like, heck no.
I'm a huge concoction guy. In middle school, that's how I got all my cred. I would just have people throw things. I won't describe it because you can't take it.
Yeah, no.
But
please don't.
I would have people just take random things and throw it together and hand it to me and say, eat this. And then I would do it. I would stomach it because I'm awesome. And I would get a lot of street cred for that.
The only time that I've done something like that, this is so gross. Thinking about it. Oh, it wasn't really a food thing. It was this girl I was on a trip with for church, and we were at a summer camp up north Michigan. We were doing some leaf raking, and she was really sick, and she had like spit into a cup, and they were like, she was like coughing and then spit it into like a little cup, and somebody was like, I'll pay you $50 to drink it. That was like the worst thing I've ever done. That was the only time I did something for money because I couldn't do it again. And Abby, if you're listening to this, thank you for the $50.
That is so far beyond anything I have had mac and cheese off the bus floor.
I didn't get sick.
I have had
the mac
things
and
out of the trash.
No.
You have ingested another person's spit straight up saliva.
Yeah. When I was like 12.
And you say you have a thing with food stuff.
For $50.
You don't have anything for bodily fluids?
I don't know. I guess not. But
I have drank.
Oh, the other thing that got me was last semester, my best friend, besides you, was down in the STR with me. I will not name who this person is. And they were with another one of my good friends, and they had made a sandwich, but they decided they didn't want it. And so person B takes a sandwich and starts like stabbing it and like ripping it apart, and it gets all over the table. They start throwing stuff at each other. I about lost my mind.
Okay, now here's the thing. I don't think that's gross.
I think it's disgusting. I can't stand it. I can't do it.
What kind of sandwich was it?
It was just a sandwich.
That's not that bad.
It was terrible. I left promptly as soon as they started doing that. Or like when people will like throw an apple and stick it with a fork and then throw it to somebody else and they stick it with a fork. That's
bothers cool.
Me.
What? That bothers you?
Me.
Why?
I don't know. I just don't like it. There's juice coming out of the apple.
Yeah.
Ugh.
You would not last at a food fight.
No. I've been in one and I about died. At the camp that I work at, one summer for staff weekend.
You don't want to make this a advertisement opportunity?
No. I mean, if you are looking for a summer job, Camp Beach Point is hiring. beachpoint.org/work.
You said no and then proceeded.
Yeah, I know. You prompted it.
Okay,
So,
go ahead.
Anyway, there's this thing that's called Staff Weekend where we have a
Staff weekend
where we get served because we've been serving kids all summer. And so they were like, we have this super fun activity plan. And I was like, sick. I'm so ready. And I was with my friend. And we were walking over, it was later at night, into a field by the lake that we have. And they were like, okay, we're going to play dodgeball. I was like, sick. I'm so good at dodgeball. Let's do this. And they were like, plot twist, it's with spaghetti. And the moment that I grabbed a handful of cold, wet spaghetti, I thought I was going to shrivel up and die. I could not even get it out of my hand. And people were throwing stuff at it. I really was about to cry. So I went and sat in a golf cart and watched everybody throw stuff at each other. But then I couldn't even stomach that. And I had to walk away. I had to go for a walk. And then they pulled out beans. Like
baked beans?
Like black beans.
Oh.
And they were throwing beans at each other. And people were like, apparently they hurt. Because they were just getting pelted with beans. And then they pulled out, what was it, syrup or something? It was something sticky. And then they pulled out flour.
Oh, okay.
And so everybody was coated in spaghetti and beans and flour and stickiness. And then they wanted to take a group picture. And everybody started chasing after me.
Oh.
And I've never run faster in my life. The moment somebody got near me, I booked it. I was like, absolutely not. And so in the photo, you can see me like in the very front row, spaced like 10 feet away from everybody else. Like, but I'm looking like fairly uncomfortable in the photo.
Okay, well, I can't.
I was like, I can't do it. And then the next year, for staff weekend, we went up to our camp director's house, which is at the top of the lane. And in her backyard, there's a massive hill. I mean, massive hill. And from her back porch, you can see like the lake. You can see almost all the way down to camp, other than there's trees. So, and then there's the drop off, and then there's this hill. And on this hill, they had a slip and slide. And at first it was cool. It was just a normal slip and slide. And I showed up late. And by the time I got up there, they had put oatmeal on the slip and slide.
Oh.
And so it was like diving down a hill full of oatmeal. And I couldn't do it. I didn't even touch it. My friend who had oatmeal all down the front of her tried to come give me a hug because I had had a hard day previously, and I was like, do not touch me. If you touch me, I will just cease to exist. I will just disappear as if I got raptured. I will be gone. Like,
listen,
I can't do it.
I really can't blame you for that, though. Like, the spaghetti thing and that's a little nasty.
Everybody else was having so much fun. It was just me. And I was like, am I the weird one here? Or are they
Am I
weird
the
for
drunk?
diving down a hill of oatmeal?
No, I don't. I guess that makes sense, but I don't know.
Or I won't drink milk
Okay, that's unnecessary.
out of the carton box.
That's even more unnecessary.
I will drink it out of the jug. I will not drink it out of the carton box because in high school, we had those carton boxes. And every time I got a milk, it would either be frozen, rock solid. Couldn't do anything about it. Had to wait until the end of the day for it to be defrosted. And I didn't want it at that point. Or it'd have chunks in it.
Chunks of what? Like frozen chunks of
No. Like spoiled milk chunks.
cottage cheese. See, that's not that bad.
You did not just say that.
That's what that is.
You did not just say
Cottage
that.
cheese is curdled milk.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
Can do what?
I can't even think about cottage cheese.
What?
I can't. I
What?
can't. If my family's eating cottage cheese, I leave the room. I can't do it. Like, really, I can't. It just grosses me out so much.
Look. Yes, there should not have been chunks in your milk in high school.
But
I
it's
get
the
that.
same brand in the SDR.
Yeah, it's the
that we
same brand
have.
in the entire United States. You know you can pour it into a glass, right?
That doesn't make any difference to me. The fact that it came out of that box is enough.
What if I told you it didn't come out of the box?
It did come out of the
What if I told you it didn't?
But I know that it did.
But what if I told you it didn't?
I wouldn't believe you.
Well, that's not very trusting.
No, it's not, because I have no trust when it comes to milk. Because you're about to give me a cup full of cottage cheese.
No, oh my gosh, I'm not. This school does not have curdled milk.
I'm scarred because of high school, and I just can't do it anymore. And there will be people on my brosis that drink like 10 cartons of milk. They'll just sit there and drink milk after milk.
I think
after
the chocolate
after
milk is awesome.
and I just can't do it.
What
I
about
can't
the
sit there
silk
and
stuff? Like sometimes they have the bottles.
the soy milk.
The soy, yeah.
The tall ones?
Yes.
I drink those.
But that's nasty usually.
it's
The
not.
chocolate's the only good one.
No, it's not. I disagree. I think the chocolate is the bad one, and I will stand on that hill till the day that I die. I don't like the chocolate almond one or whatever, or the chocolate soy one.
Yeah, that's the best one.
No, it's not. Everybody else on campus says that. I disagree. I think the vanilla soy milk is prime. And I think there's a reason for me liking that, and it's because my cousin, when I was a kid, would have that vanilla soy milk. And so when I went over to my aunt and uncle's house, I would have that, and it was like a treat. And so now I limit myself every semester to like getting one per month.
Well, they only put it out every very
No, they
so
don't.
often.
The vanilla soy milk's always out.
Oh, the chocolate one is the one that's not
chocolate
out.
one's
That was the
that's
good
out.
one.
No.
It's the good one.
No, it's not.
It is.
It's really not. Anyway, that is my food stuff, though. I'm very particular about that specific topic. Sometimes I'll get a meal and I'll sit down and I'll look at it and I'll go, nope. I can't do it. I can't.
That's
eat
wild.
This. I can't eat this. It's just, I'm very particular about it. So now you know.
Well,
All my peeves about food. You have anything like that?
No,
Mushrooms?
mushrooms I'm okay with.
You're
I'll
Russian.
eat. I know. Russian people love mushrooms. I will eat them.
I got mushroom coffee this week.
I know.
Yum.
In your cold brew machine.
Yeah, and I got my cold brew machine in.
I
had
mushrooms
2
are-
cups of that stuff today.
A
It's so
squash.
good.
That's what I can't do.
Squash?
I can't do squash.
Oh, you won't do well at my house. My mother makes squash regularly.
Nope. I won't do that. That's
Not
got a
even an
weird
acorn
taste.
squash?
I don't know what that is, but it sounds terrible.
No. You take an acorn squash, you put some butter in it, you put some syrup in it, you
I
put
can't
some
do butter on squash.
sugar in it,
Wrong.
prime.
Squash is gross.
Lisa knows what's up.
It's got a weird taste.
No. Yeah, I'll have you try it sometime, and then you can tell me you don't like squash, and I'll leave it alone. But until you've had that specific way,
But sometimes
acorn
people
squash-
try to do that, and it's too much
No.
butter and salt and sugar, and it's
No,
just, like,
no.
overwhelming.
No, I make it very good. And some people fill it with like apple and pork, and it's yummy. Apples
I
and
don't
pork
know.
are synonymous to me. They go so well together.
I think synonymous
every
is
Wednesday-
the word you're looking for.
They pair well together. That's all I got. Anyway, every Wednesday at camp, we have, well, every other Wednesday at camp, there's pork and applesauce. And my friend Johnny will go into the center of the cafeteria at
Johnny.
and he'll be like, put your pork with your applesauce. And he'll like yell it out to everybody, and all the kids are like, no, why would you do that? And I'm like, because it's delicious. If you have pork, you should have applesauce. That's all I'm saying. Or apples of some sort. It's so good. And
Well,
I love to cook. I just hate cleaning up. Because
I like cleaning up. I like cleaning things.
Excellent. That is good. Because I don't. So
Well done. That's all I got.
that took a lot out of me to get through that.
I'm surprised that you did, because I was afraid bringing it up would be too traumatic for you.
But
So,
I'd have to leave the room.
yes, or something. I've had that on our list to talk about for a while.
I know. I've been looking at it and dreading the day that I had to talk about it. I was like, I don't want to talk about it. Anyway, that'll do
I
it
think
for
that we
today.
can wrap it up there. I don't know where we're at time-wise. I was
Yeah,
trying
I
to make
don't
it
know
shorter,
either.
but I stopped my time.
I think we didn't, but I think that's okay.
It's fine.
So, thanks for listening this week, guys.
Yeah.
And we will see you next week for another heaping healthy ladle of peas.
Yep. See you later.
Peace out.
Peas out.
Peas out.